Today's episode is brought to you by the book Everyone is a Sinner But Me, available now at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Pre-recorded from Volpes Studios, it's the MCS1 show, featuring Merlin and Cameron, and now your host, MCS1.
Welcome everyone! Welcome to another exciting edition of the MCS1 show. MCS1 once again joined with Merlin and Cameron.
Hey,
what up, nerds?
Not much. Just back in the show.
Back in the show.
Back in the saddle again.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. So today we're doing a little segment that we did like a while ago, but I discontinued, called At the Movies.
At the movies.
At the movies.
At the movies. But the reason I discontinued it was I didn't want to become like a movie review blog type thing or whatever. It just wasn't really like what the direction I wanted for the show. But I found an interesting movie review direction that fits in with the show of the themes of society and counterculture, which is really good. And this is really interesting. It's kind of a cult following film that we're going to be talking about today. This is Manos, The Hands of Fate. So this film, really interesting, just crazy. The way I found out about this stupid film was from Mystery Science Theater 3000, MST3K. For those who are unfamiliar with it, it's a show that they watch really terrible movies, and the three critics, a person and two robots, make fun of them. And it is hilarious.
The entire time.
The entire time. It's great. And it aired in the 90s. Hilarious show. Then it got canceled. And now it's back on Netflix.
Yep.
And so it's taking some of their old stuff as well as a new season and threw them on. And so the very first film that you watch from the old seasons, because it didn't grab from, very early season number 1, because this show was on like public access television.
Mm-hmm.
It just, gets right into kind of the middle, and it took their best shows. And so starts off with Manos, The Hands of Fate. And this movie is terrible.
Putting it lightly.
Yeah, putting it lightly. Like, it's really bad. It's a really bad movie. I've seen the Mystery Science Theater 3000 rendition of it where they're criticizing it, they make fun of it, blah, 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 blah. And I have a problem watching bad movies. I just can't sit through them.
We had a personal experience.
Yeah.
We just can't do bad movie night.
We tried doing bad movie night in the past. Merlin and I, we did Sharknado.
Yep.
And by the end of it, I had a headache.
We just couldn't do it. It was just so bad.
Yeah, and
you guys should try The Room.
no. And I've been
again.
invited to other bad movie nights. I've been invited to a ton of Christopher Nolan Batman movie screenings, which I consider bad movie nights as well. But I can't sit through bad movies.
No.
It's just impossible. Even no matter how much I'm criticizing them and dealing with them, it sucks because it's like I don't want to inflict more pain on myself than necessary.
Exactly.
So anyway, Merlin, Cameron, and I, we watched a little bit of this before the show, and it is weird. And we watched the MST3K version, and it's super funny when they make fun of it. Like
Exactly.
Yes.
Merlin and Cameron were like way laughing, but the basic plot of this movie, and also spoilers for those who are actually planning on seeing this,
Spoilers
Great
to a
block.
very, very old bad movie.
from the 1960s, filmed in
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna find that on YouTube.
Yeah, actually,
Are you?
no.
You can
Okay.
go. You can
Well,
go
actually, you can.
you can
can't-
go digging, yeah.
You can rent it on YouTube.
You can.
You can rent it. The Mystery Science Theater 3000 rendition of it is on YouTube. I'll
Oh,
post a link to that in the show description as well. But this movie's just terrible. And the plot, it's basically this guy and his wife, and they have this little girl
And dog.
and a dog, and they're just driving, and so then they come to this this motel kind of looking place for this house, and there's this guy outside named Torgo. And Torgo looks like honestly, he looks like one of my old coworkers. But if I get technical, he's this short little guy who
mix
look-
Igor and a hobo.
yeah, he makes ooh,
That's
yeah.
what I
mixed-
was like, that's the best.
yeah, it
That's
looks
the
like
best
he's
way
got
to
like
do it.
suffering from vertigo, and he walks funny. And he
Scoliosis. I
talks
don't know.
like this. And they need a place to stay. And And they're like, oh, well, I take care of the house while the master is gone. And the master is away. And so they're like, well, can we stay here? He's like, I don't know. The master doesn't approve of children. And, I can understand that. I don't really like kids that much either. So, but they're like, well, we really need a place to stay. And he's like, I don't know. The master wouldn't approve. Just let us stay. And he's like, okay. And so he goes and he gets the luggage out of the car. And as he does this, it like plays like this creepy music. The score to this movie is just weird as crap. Cam, you had a really interesting way of describing it earlier. You said it was like a piano mixed with a...
Oh yeah, it's like the background music is like just a piano and a clarinet, just like wispy noises going through it. It's like there's nothing
It's not
going
really
on.
like ambience.
Yeah, it's just like
It's just weird.
It's just there.
who's playing a piano in the background.
It's just there, so it's not a silent film. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Heck,
so
silent films had more
They had like
background
happy
music.
like piano music.
Yeah, it's like this thing is just like ding 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 ding. It's just like what the heck?
Yeah, it's weird and it's not really even creepy. It's just weird.
It's
Yeah.
just weird. Yeah.
It's supposed to be creepy, I guess, because he's a creepy guy, and it's
Yeah. So anyway, every time he walks, it like plays this theme or whatever. On like I guess the soundtrack is called Torgo's theme or Torgo's tune or whatever. And he goes and he gets the luggage fixed up. He goes, the master won't like this. It's like, you're so upset about what your boss thinks, yet you're getting ready to break the rules or do something that doesn't make your boss happy.
Well, what does the master approve of?
Yeah, seriously, that's what they were saying on there. What does the master approve of? And it's just weird. And what it comes down to is Torgo wants this one dude's wife as his wife eventually, and then he goes to the master's weird shadow realm with all of his wives, and he's like, I'm gonna get
the
my
master
own.
has a whole bunch of wives.
Yeah, he's got like 6 wives, and at one point Torgo's just like, Master, you have 6 wives, why can't I have one? And then Crow said, he's got a point. and it's just terrible. And so then eventually they just kill Torgo on there. Like the master kills him, and then a bunch of other weird stuff happens, and it's just a really bad film, like all around. But aside from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 commentary and rendition on this, I was like, man, this is like a cult film. This is really weird and terrible. I want to know a little bit more about this, so I did some digging. I found a documentary on YouTube called Hotel Torgo. And
Okay.
the whole thing's only 30 minutes. It looks like it was a student project,
Okay.
but I really didn't care
Yeah.
because it was awesome. Because, like, honestly, this was more interesting
Yeah,
than
the
the
movie.
bad movie. It's kind of like the Fan Fat Four Stick movie. A making about that movie would be better than the actual movie. And I think that's what Screen Junkies were saying at the end of their honest trailer
Yeah, pretty much.
about that. And this is exactly what this was. So here's some interesting stuff about the movie that I picked up from Hotel Torgo. The guy who made the film is the lead actor
Oh.
in the movie. And his name was Hal P. Warren. And he was a fertilizer salesman as his day job. So this guy is very experienced in selling shit. Like, he knows how to do it. Another thing that was crazy, little piece of trivia about this documentary. It's just insane, and it just blew my mind. There's only one person alive or not MIA. Everyone's dead.
Really?
Yes, or just missing.
Missing.
There was only one guy alive, I guess. There's one guy, and they interviewed him. And he said, on this film, everyone had like 20 jobs.
Oh.
Like the director, lead actor, producer. He was everything. And he wrote the script. And the reason he wrote the script, he's like, well, I wanted to prove that anyone can make a horror movie. And
horror.
a horrible
Oh.
movie. Yeah, exactly. And so they had a budget of 30 grand, which seemed to me like a lot for this movie.
Well,
Also in the
back in
60s.
back in the day, that was a lot.
60, yeah, like 30 grand in 1960s dollars is probably like what, $6 billion today or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy that it didn't just have a budget, but like the fact that it got funding to create this film. Like it had investors involved in this. And there's going to be more on that later. Trust me. I got more about them investors.
Don't worry, there's more.
Oh,
There's gonna
don't
be
worry,
lots
they're
of
coming. And so the one guy that didn't work, the one guy that's not MIA or dead or whatever, he knew it was a bad film going in, but he's just like, whatever, I need a paycheck. And, and I think we've all been there. And so he was a cameraman, he was a grip, and then he was a fight coordinator.
Oh.
Now you're like, a fight coordinator? What for? Well, to those that haven't seen the film, which is, I'm assuming, everybody who's listening, there's a scene where the master has his 6 wives beat the crap out of each other and fight for like no reason. The funny part about this is he was telling the chicks how to fight, getting ready for like some foxy boxing. And he was telling them like, yeah, just go for it. Attack them here, here, and here and do this. So the chicks that weren't getting into it, like the fighting, they ended up getting hurt. But the ones that were like going all out and doing crazy stuff, they didn't get hurt. They were fine.
Oh.
So interesting piece of trivia for a terrible movie.
Who knew?
Yeah,
you
who
fight,
knew?
you don't get hurt. If you don't fight, you get hurt.
I know, seriously. But this guy knew it was going to be bad. But he said he still had a great time making it.
Oh, you gotta do something to keep yourself sane while filming a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in addition to that, they were mostly filming this movie at night. A lot of these people had day jobs, and so they would like go to their day job,
Yeah.
and then go do their second day job, which is this.
Selling fertilizer.
Yeah, exactly. Selling crap and then filming crap. later.
Coming to a film shoot and you're exhausted from the day's labor.
Exactly.
Oh, that's gotta
That
be
had to be hard.
I know.
In all honesty. Like,
Exactly.
And you get this guy just barking at you orders that you need to do this and this.
Well,
as
here's the
director.
funny thing. When they all showed up to shoot one day,
Mhm.
the director was like, "We need to get ready. We need to film. We need to film." And this guy, the grip, his name's Bernie. Bernie was like, "Hey, well, we're ready. What's your deal?" And he's like, "I need a few moments." And he just like pauses and closes his eyes, and like does some like weird like trance type thing. And then Bernie just starts laughing. He goes, "Dude, we're filming that." And so they just started filming it, and I can't remember if it's in the movie or not. But either way, they just started filming it. Like that's just how ridiculous this whole process is. And I've been on film shoots, and I'm not gonna lie, that type of thing happens, which is sad and stupid. Ugh. But anyway, he said he had a good time still making this. But the creator of this, who what we mentioned already, is kind of seems loony from what we're mentioning. He wrote this terrible film he wanted to write, star, direct, and do everything. And hey, this is gonna be a big production. It's gonna be the new Citizen Kane. And so this was like it was bad, but the thing is the guy was really lovable. And so Bernie said, he's the guy, he was a local actor as well. And he was a nice guy. He was an actor. And then Bernie paused. He goes, "Totally nuts." And it shows with this film and the way everything is depicted.
Mhm.
With everything like the camera angles, the framing, the lighting, the terrible soundtrack, the acting. I mean, it's just all
From the little bit I saw, the pacing is also just like very slow. No one's like people just standing there doing nothing.
Yeah, there was a lot of standing around doing nothing, which was probably happening while they were filming this.
Like, crap, what do I do? Stand there.
Yeah.
All right, Torgo, go.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
So they knew, Bernie knew it was going to be bad, which still didn't make him do a better job with his camera angles and everything. But he's just like, whatever. But the another thing about the actors, Torgo, the little weird guy that we mentioned earlier, something Bernie said about him is, he's like, I'm pretty sure he was high during the whole film shoot. And if you watch it, it kind of makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Like he was high during the whole film shoot. Sad thing, the guy also ended up committing suicide.
Oh,
I know, really sad.
oh man.
Poor Torgo.
It was after the filming, of course, though, right? Like he
Probably because of the filming. No, to be honest, I don't know. It was after the filming.
I was just okay.
It was after the filming, but because of the filming, I don't know.
Okay, I was
Right.
because I would feel bad like if he did like like in the middle of the movie or shooting it, that'd be just
Probably
like,
did during the middle of the premiere, just in the middle of the theater, just had a gun ready. He's like, I knew it was gonna be this bad.
I must commit seppuku
Oh man.
or Sudoku.
Sudoku?
Commit Sudoku and start drawing it on your chest.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
So the guy that played the master in this, in his weird nether realm or whatever, the master, he ended up just like leaving Texas and moving out to like California or like the Northwest Americas. I think, and he just disappeared. I think he ended up joining the Manson family. That's just a personal theory. I don't know if it's true. Could be. I don't know. Just a thought. But as they were filming this, like, it was just bad. And,
Yeah.
as you guys mentioned, the pacing was weird. There was a lot of standing around. And there was a little girl in the film. And she was like, this doesn't look right. It just doesn't seem, correct. And she's this little girl. She can even tell this is bad. And the director just told her, oh, don't worry, honey. We're going to fix it in the lab. Which is kind of like, normally I said, oh, we'll fix it in post.
Well, yeah.
Post-production with the editing and stuff
Oh,
like
fix it
that.
in editing,
Yeah, fix it in a lab. It's like what? Igor's lab where Torgo was created from half of him, and what was the other person that Torgo came from?
A hobo.
A hobo. Yeah, seriously.
I was working in the lab late one night.
Oh boy. And so the little girl, she's thinking, oh man, movies really are magical. They could just be filmed crappy and be put back together and things like that. And, that's true of Steven Seagal movies. And, it's just, I don't know. It's more sad than anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad, but then, like, they're lying to the little girl. They're like, no, it's going to be good. So, this was a big deal in the local community because they're like, oh my gosh, a film's being made here.
A motion picture.
A motion picture in the 1960s.
Moving pictures, I tell you.
Exactly. And so they're all excited. They got local investors and things like that. And so opening night comes
Oh no.
at the local theater. And everyone gets together, like all the actors, the everyone that wanted to see this, the investors. And this is no small event.
Oh, wow.
They're like dressed up in like suits and ties and tuxedos. Like this is
going all out.
This is going all out, like 1960s going all out.
Kind of like 1960 of like a red carpet kind of event.
Yeah, it was like a red carpet type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it's like, oh, we're gonna have our own little Hollywood here. Very first film. Wow, that's so cool. And so the screening is just terrible, obviously because it's a bad movie. But like 5 minutes in, and this is from what Bernie was saying. He said, as soon as the character spoke, the audience would just start snickering, and then like they would like as the movie went on, it would get louder with more and more laughter. But the thing is, it wasn't a comedy.
No,
it wasn't a parody. It was a serious
horror movie.
horror movie.
Horror suspense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just really bad, and so they kept laughing, and as the movie kept going on, more and more of the cast members kept leaving,
Oh
just
no.
like getting up and walking out rather than
Oh,
watch
no.
and face the humiliation. And that's probably when Torgo offed himself. I mean, I know it would come to this.
no.
And, it was just really sad all around. It was just that bad. And so everyone was crushed by this.
Oh, well,
The investors, the actors.
Put your heart and soul into it, but you're not good at it.
Money.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy that probably didn't care was Bernie. But he really didn't put his heart and soul into it. I think he made it kind of crappy. Because, like, honestly, the framing's bad, and a bunch of our stuff that he was in charge of didn't even look that great.
No.
So, sorry, Bernie. But another thing is they showed a screening of this at the University of El Paso, modern day. And they had a bunch of kids go in and watch it, like college students. And they were like, oh, man, it's terrible, but it's so bad it's funny. Kind of thing. And then afterwards, they went and they all talked to Bernie, who worked on it, and he let them know. He's like, hey, man, that's how the film world is. But the thing is, it's funny because this has been hailed on many people's worst film lists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on mine. Oddly enough, my worst film list is every Christopher Nolan movie ever created. But this movie has been hailed, just a terrible movie on every list, not just, all of my Christopher Nolan movie list, whatever, but like most IMDb lists, most blogs. everything. Everyone really thought this was bad.
It's reached its fame of being the worst.
The
film.
worst.
Right up there with Sharknado,
Yeah,
The Room, Troll 2.
Well, here's the other thing. This movie went into obscurity for years
I bet.
after this movie
Yeah.
screening,
I
They
bet
just-
the actors and directors tried their darndest to keep that
just
thing,
to hide that.
just to shove it under the cover and say, you
And
don't
maybe
see
that's
this.
what killed him, and why Bernie's the only one left. But until Mystery Science Theater found it and got a hold of it and bought the rights to show it,
Mhm.
no one really knew about it.
Yeah.
And that's like
the Star Wars Christmas special.
yeah, like the Star Wars Christmas special. Oh boy. So yeah, and I think that's cool because this film would have faded into obscurity. We would have never heard the great stories of the making of this film,
Mhm.
which honestly is even better than the film itself. Anyway, that's our show. I want to thank Merlin and Cameron for coming on.
No problem.
And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the MCS1 show. For bi-weekly episodes on society and counterculture, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. For regular updates, show notes, and links, head to the MCS1show.com or search AOL keyword MCS1.